Enrique, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Hey, everybody, look at that video. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad.
It's going to be weird.
Look at my face.
Like relearning this whole thing. We've been on hiatus for 3 months and then starting off with a new process here. That it's just going to be weird, but that's all right.
Yeah, we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
How you been, dude? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I know. I'm good, man. I don't know. Like, I wish I could say things are different, but they're not. And yet they are.
That's what she said.
Time is a straight arrow.
It's a sucker.
It's a straight line.
It's a sucker.
It's a straight line.
So here we are, season 5. There's been a changes. As you can tell, there's the 4 are down to 2.
Yeah, we made Doyle smaller, and he's wearing a white face.
Oh,
Sorry, Doyle.
Do you hate Mexicans?
But you know, yes, apparently. That's the answer. We're in post-inauguration timeline.
the darkest timeline.
I'm about to say, as community would say, this is a darkest
Timeline. It's terrible.
And so we are definitely more racist. And I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it. I mean, I still love people, but apparently...
Yeah, me and Isaac. Say hi, Isaac.
Hello.
we were talking about it earlier. We were on the way here. He was like, I don't, because we were trying to come up with like things to talk about, and he's like, I don't really follow much what's going on.
So why don't you just guys be racist?
Ooh, look at that. No, he was telling me how like he doesn't follow much what's going on. I told him, yeah, it's fucking dark times.
You should just be racist. Be racist, because apparently it's...
I can hear the fizzling. That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. This is you didn't know I was paid by Monster to do this and Ghost.
No, you're not.
Why are you ruining my commercial?
Hold on, I'm coughing. Like you can hear that. Anyway,
Are we going to take that off in post as well?
no, it stays in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. So what's new, dude? What have you been up to?
I've been watching a lot of movies. David Lynch passed away.
Yeah, sadly.
So I went to go watch Eraserhead over at Vidiot's in the Rock, and that was incredible. Like, guys, wherever you're at, if you can go watch old movies in like old theaters, it's the best. It's the greatest. It's beyond just the fact that you're watching something that you're so used to watching on the small screen, just because that's what you're going to watch old movies on.
Right.
Watching it on a big screen is incredible, the novelty of that, but it's also just being around people and hearing their reactions. Like, I heard so many people laughing at different scenes in Eraserhead that I laughed at and didn't know that other people found those scenes funny.
Yeah, just to have that camaraderie with strangers is pretty cool.
Yeah, but the most revealing part for me was, okay, do you remember? Well, for sure. I mean, yeah, the baby, there's like this little baby thing that's the central part of the movie. Because, I mean, Eraserhead essentially is David Lynch working out his feelings about fatherhood.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so there's all these like kind of allusions to still being a potently sexually minded like 20-year-old guy, because that woman across the hallway who keeps on looking at him, the one he ultimately gets seduced by, all of that stuff really just speaks to like just the very normal feelings that people go through when they're going through their first child. And so the baby is there, and 2 things. One, that the special effects on that baby are incredible, and I know that they've never really fully explained how they recreated that. There's all these theories.
It wasn't recreated.
It's a real baby.
It was a real baby. It's a baby.
Because, dude, like, remember when you zoom in on the face and you see like the eyes moving, and it's just too good. It's very disturbing. But the second part, the part that I found very astonishing, was like the crying and the reaction people had to that. Like, as a father of two kids, and you can probably relate with this, is like being up at 2 or 3 in the morning when your child is crying and you just can't fix it. You don't know how to. You don't know how to calm them down, how to make them feel better. And so that sort of palpable frustration, I felt it in that audience, which was incredible. So that was something that was a kind of community-wise. So go watch movies in the theaters, guys. Old movies, that is. Just great.
And support the little mom and pop theaters. I mean, the chain ones as well, but the little ones are the important ones. They keep history alive, man.
Yes, they do.
We did for my anniversary last year, we did the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, and we saw Spaceballs.
Okay.
Netflix bought it and ramped it up. And I was a little like worried. Netflix buying the Egyptian theater and stuff.
Beautiful theater.
Gorgeous theater.
Yes, sir.
Great snacks. It's just the kudos to Netflix for keeping that one alive, man. It was really, really good. And of course, there's El Capitan, which is also beautiful.
Yeah.
That's Disney.
So the Egyptian theater, in the name itself, it's all decked out like an Egyptian court. So when you're walking from the front gate into the theater, you have this long walkway that kind of sort of resembles like the old plazas of Giza. It's pretty incredible. Even though it's like done in a small scale, it's a beautiful theater.
Yeah, inspired by, but about 1920s or 30s style.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
Well, it's Art Deco.
Well, it's Art Deco and it's Grauman's. It
But
used to be Grauman's. It was part of Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
It was their sister site, but it's still gorgeous. Grauman's also is very nice, but it's been modernized.
Too much. It's been modernized because it's connected to the Hollywood and Highland complex. So it
Was the name of that TLC now or TL something? It's not the same. It's great that they kept part of it, but I mean it's just too modern for me.
yeah.
By us, we have Starlight Theater,
Okay.
which has been around forever. It's a gorgeous neon like infused theater. It's a small multiplex. I think they have about 12 theaters in there, I think, or 10.
Right.
Like that. But it's all small. The front is gorgeous. If you guys ever get a chance, Starlight Theater in Uptown Whittier.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So we're
Snacks
lucky.
suck, though.
Like that's the biggest difference between here and other parts of the world and other parts of California as well as the rest of the United States is how many like revivalist theaters we are surrounded by. I was talking to Cecilia up north, and I was telling her about how much movies I've been watching. And she meant, like, I just assumed that, like, San Francisco, the Marin County, there would be some old theaters there.
Yeah.
And there are, like, a few, but not to the same extent as here in LA. So we have, like, the Lemley Theater. We have the Pasadena Playhouse. We have the Vista Theater. We have the Arrow Theater. We have the Vidiots. And then Braindead Studios, which used to be the silent movie theater on what is it, Melrose and Fairfax. And so, and then that's just like a small...
That's just a smidget. There's a lot in Los Feliz. There's a lot of theaters in Los Feliz that
what's so
Los
cool,
Feliz.
yeah, and what's so cool about these movie theaters is that they're either all backed by different directors or just by little communities of people who want to keep that cinema feel alive. And these theaters are constantly playing great movies, and they're having conversations. So it's still relevant if you're a filmmaker to live in LA for that much alone, because there's still that zeitgeist, that ghost, that leftover feeling that this is the of that ghost that side that's feeling of this is where movies are made, and so that community, that energy still exists here. Mind you, I was listening to this like really sad report. I think it might have been on NPR, and they were talking about how a lot of studios are relocating their businesses away from here, naturally because of tax cuts and because of how expensive California is.
No, they're ignorant.
Yeah.
That's ignorant.
And so the consequence of that, the ultimate consequence of all that is that we're losing a little bit of that. But it's still alive in our movie theaters, which is great. I'm super happy about
I'm
that.
still mad at Downey for tearing down the old Foxtrot, which is called the Downey Avenue Theater.
Oh, right.
The Dollar
Yeah.
Theater. Mm-hmm. That place was, well, in its heyday, when I was a teen, it was nice. But then, of course, when I was in my 20s, it got disgusting. I remember seeing a rat running down the aisles the size of a small dog. It was pretty gross. And the floors looked like you were going through the swamp in the Neverending Story for the tray.
Yeah. No.
I lost a horse in that fucking theater.
So that theater, Avenue Theater, must have been like 1991, 92, give or take. I went walking there to go watch. Well, dude, I used to go walking there all the time.
We
to watch
used
movies.
to walk all the time back in the days.
Yeah. And so one of the movies the one that still stands out to me that I watched there, two. One was Darkman. And then the second movie, and the one that always sticks out to me is Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
That movie I saw at the Avenue Theater, and dude,
I saw a few, but Scream 2 sticks out because I was so bored.
really, Scream 2 was still, the Avenue Theater was still there when Scream 2 came out.
Yeah, that's when I saw the rat.
Oh, wow.
That's when I saw that thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrible. And then God, what was the name of that movie? Stephen King movie, the cat people one. What was the name of it? You know,
Not Pet Cemetery.
No, Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, that's the one. Sleepwalkers. Yeah, right.
I saw Sleepwalkers there, which was kind of like a weird, kind of like a meta moment because if you remember the theater in Sleepwalkers, the lobby looked very similar to the Avenue Theater lobby. Like it had the same kind of like concession stand stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it kind of looks like this place. So that one always sticks out to me. I've saw a bunch more, but those are the ones.
You know, the interesting thing about Avenue Theaters, for the longest time, they kind of denied the history of all that there in Downey. Because, you know, it was closed down and there was nothing. It was just, not even the facade was there.
Yeah.
And then just recently, they put up a mural to it. I mean, there's a pizza place there now. And,
not the same.
But right in front of it is like a drawing, like a painting mural of the front of the Avenue Theater. And
It's just so stupid.
it's sad.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's sad. So
They thought, oh, the recording will be around forever. Now what? It's gone. It's called the Grill Time or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's right. That was the Gregorian theory.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gregorian is gone, so that's what takes place. It's not the same.
Dude.
I went a lot of times there. I went and saw episode 1 of Star Wars there when it premiered with the big old line and there, the whole hype. I saw it there.
I saw a Face Off there at the Gregorian
Face
Theater.
Off. Yeah,
I saw that one there. I went with Josie.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of movies. I saw Stitch, Lilo and Stitch when it came out for my birthday, so we went to go see it there. And I saw like a bunch of movies there, but it wasn't the same. You know, it was nice because it was new, but that place sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know if you like it, my bad. But no, I prefer smaller theaters like the Starlight and stuff like that. Now we have by our place we have Cinépolis, which is fun. I like it. It's modern though. There's nothing special.
That one has good food though.
It has great food.
Is the Cinépolis the one in Pico?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. That's my favorite. That's my go-to.
It has great stuff. We've gone a few times. We saw Indiana Jones, the last one on there.
Okay.
In 4DX, and that was amazing. Great food. Great food. It's too modern for my taste. Like we went to the LA Live one, which is I forgot the name of the one over there. It's a Regency, I think it is. Also, I enjoy that one, but it's a modern theater, so I'm not a fan of that one. I will still go, but I'm not a fan of it. But for me, it's still Starlight. Cinemark is okay. It's just there's too many too far away. Like the nearest one to us is in Downey.
Yeah.
Downey from my house is like a 30-minute drive, and it's like, is it really worth it for me to go to Downey now? Even though my family lives in Downey, but I just don't. It's not worth it for me. I'd rather do the Starlight.
So, you know, I was thinking of the last movie that I saw at the Egyptian Theater. Actually, the first movie I saw at the Egyptian Theater and the last one. I've only been there once.
Oh.
But super impressed. I want to go back.
We should go.
I would totally be down for that.
Let's do that.
The movie that I saw was The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Oh,
Now, here's the thing about the movie. I saw the movie the night before Donald Trump was inaugurated.
Mm-hmm.
You know the whole. I guess it would have been the 21st, was it? So it wasn't that long ago. I saw it on a Sunday, and the thing about The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, for those who don't know, it's a John Wayne movie.
The Duke.
Jimmy Stewart, or James Stewart as he was wanting to be called then, he plays a politician who comes back into town with his wife in order to honor the dying of a friend. And through the whole flashback motif, you get to find out that the town that they're in is one of those railroad towns that was created because of the town had expanded because of the railroad. Prior to that, when he first got there, the town was pretty small and kind of empty, and so it was the making of the railroad that really created the sort of boom of these towns. And mind you, that sort of mirrors the whole Route 66 movement and all the diners and stuff that grew along that highway.
Progression is about a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, there's like ups and downs. Like you know, there's a lot of stories about it. Like the whole movie Cars is in some ways about that, where you have like this route that was created in order to expedite passage along the country. But prior to that, there were these pre-existing highways, these roads that live there, and these little towns
with tourist traps. And
Well, once Route 66 kind of took root, it diverted those tourists into just one straight stream. And while it created a whole new opportunity of tourism, it destroyed a bunch of other little towns along the way there. Now, the movie The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance talks about the railroads in that way, in the sense that this town was nothing, and once that railroad was there, that town grew up. Now, that is not the main point of the movie. The real main point of the movie is that John Wayne places kind of representation of old Western law, which is the law of the gun, and he tries to convince Jimmy Stewart that the only thing he can do in order to protect himself, because when he first got there, he was held up by a guy named Liberty Vance, a bandit, and he's a lawyer, I should add. That his whole thing was he wanted to come to this town and bring in the
Law and order,
but the rule of the law by the book. And John Wayne said, well, that's not going to happen. You need a gun. That's the only sort of thing that's going to protect you. Message of the movie, though, overall, really is about the expansionism of America. And, dude, there's this whole little... have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I saw it years ago. I love Westerns.
Well, that's the thing. I don't. I don't love Westerns.
Love Westerns.
But I love this movie. This movie, like, really, and kind of opened me up to the whole idea of Westerns. So I'd love to hear your opinion on those in a bit. But the point I want to make is that there's a sequence in the movie where James Stewart is trying to teach everybody in town how to read. And it's a really amazing sequence, because in this sequence you have all of these different people that are supposed to represent the different sort of nationalities that were making up these little towns. So in it you have little Hispanic kids that can't speak English. You have obviously like rednecks and miners and farmers and of course you had women, and the school specifically by James Stewart was started because he wanted to teach a female who helped him how to read. And so by that, he got other people to come in. But because of him teaching them how to read, he was teaching them about the Constitution and the rights that they had. And he does this whole impassioned speech about the First and Second Amendment and just in general about the power of the Constitution. And dude, it was so moving for me at that time. I don't know, man. I was just kind of feeling like all kinds of way about the way our country might be going and how just things were kind of panning out, that it just made me feel something that I haven't felt in the movie in a long time. And I was kind of overwhelmed. It was really great. It was a great feeling. What I enjoyed most was doing that in a movie theater, surrounded by people who were just really enthralled with this
Translation,
movie.
he cried, ladies and gentlemen.
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little tear.
Just a little bit. Yeah. No, I mean, I felt it, man. I felt emotional, but it was great. I mean, dude, like...
I haven't seen that movie in... Let me see, I'm 46 now. God, what? Almost 27 years ago, give or take.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but it is one of the good ones. I like John Wayne films. I do. The Shooter comes to mind. I think that's the name of The Shooter.
Okay.
And that's the one with Ron Howard. I think that's the last film he did.
Ron Howard, man, how old was he in that?
He was a teenager. He was a teen, and he did it, and he was like the sidekick of how to say, Bruce Wayne. John Wayne. He was a sidekick. It's a good movie. I think that was the last movie he did. I don't know if he won an Oscar for it, but that's like the last one before cancer got him. Rip.
It's speaking of Bruce Wayne. I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Again, one of these revivalist theaters. Over.
You know what? That movie's amazing. I'm not a Tarantino fan, but I've grown to love his films. Okay. And that movie's one of my favorites. That
movie in the movie theater, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Music choices, visuals. Just
what was it playing at the Vista?
No, this one was playing at the. It was in Beverly Hills. I want to say it was called the. Oh man, I'll get back to you. I don't remember the name.
Put a pin on that.
But so. In the movie they fictional. The movie is just a fictionalization of that era. Like the 100%. Whole movie is that movie is a whole ode to
it's a love letter.
It's a love letter, right, to Hollywood. The passing of the torch from funny enough from the westerns. Right. Yeah. It's from the passing of the torch from the westerns into what would become modern Hollywood. But it's so subtle. The movie doesn't hit you over the head with that sort of honorific or pastiche. It just, what it does instead is it frames it all in the context of the murder of Sharon Tate, the Charles Manson murders. Mm-hmm. And in it, it's fictionalized because, I don't want to give too much. Well, if you haven't seen it by now,
whatever.
Yeah. So spoiler, you can skip ahead. I don't know, however long. But basically, Charles Manson only makes one small appearance, and his group of people end up getting killed by Brad Pitt, who saves Sharon Tate's life inadvertently by accident. And it arguably alters the course of history, and maybe even stems the dying of old Hollywood, because in it Leonardo DiCaprio plays this I guess technically he might have been a John Wayne kind of stand-in, right? He's supposed to be a cowboy actor who he made some great cowboy movies, who started making cowboy TVs, and he was feeling diminished because of it.
He's actually based on another actor, but it's escaping me at the moment. But he's based on a famous actor that same thing happened to him. I think I don't know if it was Bonanza or something, but he kind of got phased out of the westerns.
Okay,
so it's kind of based on that. But
I mean, for me, I got the sense that it was a little bit of the John Wayne, because he's supposed to play
Same
this
story.
kind of like tough, like this tough guy who really isn't tough. And by all accounts, John Wayne himself wasn't really a tough guy. He portrayed him.
John Wayne's real name is Marion.
He was kind of, and maybe I'm changing. So anybody who wants to correct me, that's fine. I'm open to it. In fact, I might do my own research later on. But my understanding was that John Wayne wasn't really that tough of a guy. Mind you, he was a staunch conservative, and obviously of the time, American values and family values, all that stuff. And that's fine. That's how it was in those times, and he grew in with that. However, in the movie, this Leonardo DiCaprio character that he plays is a guy who does not want to do spaghetti westerns. He doesn't want to do other types of movies, and so he keeps on holding on to this character. Now, Brad Pitt is his stuntman double. Yeah.
Double.
And so in that he ends up being more the guy that Leonardo DiCaprio portrays. Yeah.
A fish.
Shut up. He portrays in the movies. Long story short, man, that whole movie, dude, like the music choices, the feeling, like, dude, like I love how Quentin goes from like filming like what looks like a modern Western to like a horror movie. That whole sequence when Brad Pitt goes into Spawn Ranch.
You're glossing over the whole part of the whole glam Hollywood dancing montage.
Yeah. Oh, I am. That part is hilarious.
So it's like he has all these different styles. Now the good thing is, I've always said, okay, Tarantino, I wasn't a fan of. What he's good at is he's good at regurgitating other style. He doesn't really have his own style, but I guess that conglomeration of different styles is his style.
Okay.
So I grew to like his films, but I remember I started with Pulp Fiction, just like mostly everyone, and I didn't see nothing special about it. I did see Jackie Brown, which I love. That used to be my favorite Tarantino film for years, and then Once Upon a Time is now my favorite one. They're great. They're great films. They are. I'm not
So
gonna lie.
do you get the sense that great directors, David Lynch, Quentin Tarantino, Thomas Anderson, you know who I'm talking about, the guy who did There Will Be Blood.
F. Thomas Anderson?
Yeah. So do you get the sense that what makes a great director is they're able to take an idea that they have, and while you can sort of surmise that is the theme of the movie, they couch it in great character story development with great visuals and music. Whereas like subpar directors, they're kind of like mediocre in that they kind of like the theme is almost like it hits you over the head. There's really no stylistic. I think maybe a good example of that would be Zack Snyder, who I think is really visually interesting. He chooses a lot of music, but he's also kind of...
Zack Snyder is a good cinematographer. He knows the camera. He knows how to frame things. He knows how to make it a living portrait. He's not a good storyteller.
Yeah.
He's not a good storyteller. He doesn't know how to let the narrative breathe because he's so technical when it comes to the actual video itself that he loses focus, kind of like what I was happening to me earlier. So that's the problem with Zack Snyder. He's a great cinematographer. He's a great at painting the picture, but he does not know how to color in the lines. He does not know how to actually tell the story. So that's always been his flaw. He'll never fix it.
Dude, that Rebel Moon movie, dude. Like,
God, I tried watching it. I saw the first one. I tried watching the second one. I couldn't get through it.
let me ask you: did you watch the original cut or the needless?
I saw the original
director cut.
I saw the original cut because I wasn't going to sit through a director's cut without seeing the original.
What a useless, pointless, like...
Well, his Justice Leagues was the same thing. It was terrible.
But okay, here's the thing though. Like Justice League, like sort of makes sense why.
I can let it go on Justice League. I could let it go, and I watched it and I enjoyed it. But it's still not the greatest. It isn't. But I had fun. I preferred that over fucking other attempts. But it's terrible. Like Josh Whedon. Josh Whedon's Justice League, that was crap.
But that's my point.
Zack's was better.
That's my point. A director's cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League makes sense because there was a Josh Whedon cut. And so
Show his version instead, which
showing his version made sense, but it feels like
superior in every quality.
because of how much traction this movement got for doing a director's cut, I got the sense that he really let that get to his head, because the Rebel Moon movie, it really did not need that director's cut. It didn't add anything to
Well, it killed the Army of Dead sequel.
did it now?
Mm-hmm. It got canceled
Because of how bad his movies have
because
been.
how bad his movies are.
He was way too indulgent, dude. That was a problem. Like way too indulgent.
Well, that's the problem. Like the only movie I could say was like Chef's Kiss of his is this Dawn of the Dead remake.
Sure, yeah.
Because
Love that
Sucker
movie.
Punch is a gorgeous movie, but it doesn't really have a great story. It's just all over the place because he's just trying to fit visuals and
It's got a great concept though. I love the concept.
Great concept, great ending. I love the twist ending and whatever. But
I will argue that it does have a great story, but it's executed so badly.
yeah, I was going to say it's not delivered properly.
Yeah.
But that's the one. The other movie, and it's not really his because he took a great storyteller's story and made it great. Is 300.
Yeah.
300 is because of Frank Miller. So it's Snyder's beautiful vision, the portraits and all that, which he tried to bring the graphic novel to life, which he did, and some might say even did more than that. But the story is Frank Miller. So because of Frank Miller, it actually worked. But if he did it on his own, whatever, like he wouldn't have been able to pull that off.
Okay. I think that 300, Frank Miller basically storyboarded the whole movie.
Yeah, he storyboarded the whole fucking thing, and Zack Snyder just basically were like, okay.
Yeah, I agreed with that. I totally agree with that.
Monkey, have you seen 300?
No.
I gotta show you 300. That's a good movie.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the Westerns real quick. Yeah, I'm a huge Western fan. I got my little one. I got Michael into them, but he's the only one. Bone Tomahawk is one of the greatest. Tombstone. Amazing. I saw Kevin.
So those are more like the modern ones, right? Those are modern westerns. I mean, Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk is a horror movie.
Yeah,
It's different. But okay, you want something classic? A new movie that I just saw, The Sisters Brothers. It's on Netflix. It's about to go away. So if it's still there, go watch it today. It's a great story. It's an old fashioned. It's an old fashioned Western. It really is. It's a story that. It doesn't really have shootouts and stuff like that, but it's a great story. Then, of course, there is the classic retelling of Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurais, which is
Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, that's a good one. The Magnificent. But yeah, the original, not the one with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt.
That was bad, bro.
Yeah, that was I own that because it came free with the original Magnificent Seven, which is
Magnificent.
it's always gonna be that from now on, dude. Magnificent Seven.
You got that mumble mouth, bro. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that.
But yeah, no, The Sisters Brothers is really good.
Okay.
The Ballad of Buster
Bagger
Scruggs.
Vance?
No,
Sorry.
the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That's the one. The Coen brothers.
Coen brothers. Now I gotta say, I'm late to the Coen brothers party. Okay, for years I thought their movies were overhyped. The first movie that I really liked of the Coens was "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," which is Homer's Odyssey retold in the Dust Bowl, the
Really?
Great Depression, and all that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Review it. It's the story. They even battle a Cyclops.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched this movie.
No.
No.
Oh my God, you're missing out. It's great bluegrass music, which I'm a big fan of bluegrass music. So
Okay.
it's great classical American folklore kind of thing, and the acting is just silly, but it's fun. The story, of course, like I said, it's the Odyssey, but just retold in the Dust Bowl, Great Depression era. I go watch it.
Okay.
I recommend those two movies right now to you.
So, okay, did you watch the one with what's his name, Javier Bardem and
No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Now hold on.
That is.
Let me defend myself.
Okay.
Okay, there's two movies that I saw of theirs once when I was younger, and the first one being The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Didn't like it.
So, would you say you don't abide?
I don't abide. Dude does not abide.
The dude.
And then the other one was No Country for Old Men, which I saw right when it came out with all the buzz and all that. and I saw it and I was bored. I was like, this is a piece of shit. I don't know why people like the Coen brothers. That's why I say I'm late to the party. Now,
bro, you know what? You're the kind of guy who would watch Paris, Texas, and by Vin Vendors and be like, "This is boring."
So I thought it was really boring. Lebowski thought it was really boring. The second viewing of both of those movies, I was like, these are amazing films, because I saw them in my defense before film school.
Okay,
and then I saw them again after film school. Now I see it through a different.
Can I reinterpret what you just said? I think what you just said was I watched them when I was like
an idiot.
When I was an idiot, and then afterwards I became snooty, and now
I'm a snooty idiot.
Now I'm a snooty filmmaker. So
Yeah.
like,
No, I'm not a filmmaker. Fuck that.
wannabe filmmaker.
Wannabe filmmaker.
Sorry.
Thank you. Get it straight, fucker.
Anyway, so
beep.
dude, really, No Country for Old Men right off the bat.
I did not like it. Anton Chigurh bugged the crap out of me. The whole story.
Well, that was the point. He was supposed to
everything-
bug the crap out of you.
Everything about it. What's the name of freaking Josh Brolin in that film?
It doesn't even matter,
doesn't
but I
matter,
know
but-
exactly. Okay, so
And you know what really bugged me? The fact that like you don't even get to see the shootout in the hotel where he dies.
That's the point, though.
Now I get it. I'm just telling you my first impression when I first saw it. You've seen some films where you see it the first time and you don't like it, and then you go back and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with me with those two films. And that's what happened with the Coen brothers. Like now going back and seeing other ones, like I was saying, watch The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Okay.
On Netflix. Oh my God. It's a Western. It's great. It's funny. It's weird, but I highly recommend it, dude. So do some homework. Write them down, dude. Sisters, Brothers, Buster Scruggs, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
So I watched a little bit of Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I didn't watch all of it. I think I might have watched maybe the first 30 minutes of it. And not that I was bored, because it was cool. I wasn't in the right frame mindset.
Yeah.
So I just put it aside and haven't been back to it. But I'm going to watch it.
Each story is different.
Yes.
They're all different, but they're all great in their own,
And there's a connective tissue though, right, between them? Is there like any like overarching theme other than the fact that they are like Westerns? No?
The irony behind it, basically.
Okay.
Maybe?
All right.
I think the irony is like the driving force, but other than that, not really.
Okay, so going back to No Country for Old Men, I mean, that whole movie is also like an ode of a passing of a baton from what was an old idea of what the country was when it was smaller versus what it became when it was bigger. And to find out, when you really see it, the movie is really saying that it doesn't matter. It didn't change. Just the size and scope of things changed. Because what's his name? Tommy Lee. I forget his character name, but he plays like this old
Texas Ranger.
Yeah, this old Texas Ranger guy who almost like he's almost waxing poetic about how things were different and how things are more violent now, and his time's past. But then, you hear a story from the guy that I guess it's his dad. And then also later on, you hear a story from him that says that basically says this violence still existed. This sort of sense of, the senselessness of it all existed. And therefore, this idea that there was an old way that was better, just it's fantasy. It's not real.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Javier Bardem's character, Anton Chigurh, there's a movie, or rather, there's a book by it's by Cormac McCarthy. He's a guy who wrote the book The Road. I think that was made into a movie as well.
Yes, it was with Viggo Mortensen.
Right, and he's also known for a few other things. But there's this movie that, I mean, arguably it's unfilmable, although supposedly it's going to get made. It's called Blood Meridian. Now, Blood Meridian is a Western, and it's told from the perspective of this young boy who runs away from home and gets indoctrinated into a gang. I guess you would call them scalpers. They're essentially these men who went through the old West, and they would try to scare off people in order to make the land more valuable for prospectors, and they would do so by killing Indians, right, scalping them.
Yeah.
One of the main evils, one of the guys, he's called the Judge. And this judge is based on a real character.
And his last name is Judy.
And this guy, the judge, dude, is actually Anton Chigurh. He's the embodiment of evil, of senselessness, of he's almost like a force of nature and inevitability. And there's this whole sequence in the book where he describes sort of his intention, where he basically admits that he's timeless and endless and that he will always be, in a sense, almost like saying that sort of
Humanity.
well, yeah, and if you remember that talk that Anton Chigurh has with the store clerk, right? When he comes into it's in the beginning of the movie, and he's flipping the coin, and he's basically telling the guy, pick a side.
His friendo.
Yeah, and the reason he does that mostly is because he wants. He gets mad that the clerk just asked him a more personal question, like, hey, I saw that you're coming from San Antonio, and that he didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that triggered him. Like,
so he decided to put him on the chopping block, gave him the coin flip, and the guy survived it, and that's that. And so you get the sense that Anton Chigurh believes himself to be an agent of nature, of like a force of nature, and in chaos, an evil embodied.
I read somewhere that he was the perfect prime example of a psychopath. Is that correct? Or
that makes sense. That would make sense, yeah, because his whole view is myopic. It's very singular. He just looks at the world in one way, and he believes himself to be. He seems to be motivated by things that are outside of him. Therefore, giving any decision he makes a lot more weight, even though ultimately he's just like a killer. He's just somebody who does things indiscriminately. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's what psychopaths do. As far as I can tell, is that they ascribe some grander purpose to the little tragedies that they inflict on people. So yeah, for sure. I can see him being absolutely a psychopath.
Yeah. And remember also the speech he gave. He was talking to Josh Brolin's wife in the movie. What's her name? I forget her name. But at the end, when she's like, "You don't have to do this," when he shows up to kill her. Right before he has the car accident.
I love that sequence and just sort of the implications of it.
He killed her, obviously.
Dude, if you notice the largest of violence in the movie, you don't see it. You don't see. It's implied
the drug bust in the beginning. You don't see the shootout at the hotel, and you don't see Anton Chigurh kill Josh's wife. I wish I had her name off the top of my head. But yeah, what are you looking at? He's looking.
I'm trying to be behind the scenes, but Angel always does. He never knows how to be the Wizard of Oz. Like, don't look behind the curtain.
I hate that movie. Leave me alone.
That movie's great. No. Funny enough, there was just recently there was a movie that somebody said that the Wizard of Oz. That this movie is the Wizard of Oz. I'm trying to remember it. Shoot. I hate when I forget a point I was going to make.
So
it'll come back to me. Yeah.
So speaking of, you said Clerks, and it reminded me. I finally switching genres. I finished Clerks 3 finally, which I've owned forever since it came out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I said on like season 2 or something. I said how crappy that movie was because I only watched like 20 minutes of it and then I stopped. Now I watched the whole thing and it's actually incredible.
I see. This is you, bro. This is exactly you. You would do that. You would watch something for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and create this whole big stink about how bad it is without even getting to the point.
It was boring. In the beginning was boring, but I think I just was not in a state of mind because then I rewatched it from the beginning and it was like I said, 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't know why I didn't watch it. I finished it. I'm like, oh, it's a great story. It's sad. It's a sad It's a sad conclusion to the Clerks saga, but I liked it.
I think it's fitting though. It makes sense.
I think it was good. Was it perfect? No. Was it better than Clerks 1? No. But it was good.
None of that. Clerks 2 wasn't better than Clerks 1.
No, Clerks 2 was not better than Clerks 1. But you could see, it's funny because you could see, so Clerks 1 was like an indie that he did where he shot on a shoestring budget, something that we would put together probably ourselves. Clerks 2, you saw he had Hollywood money. He could put anything into it. They actually shot the movies. A restaurant was actually on Beach Boulevard in Buena Park. Yeah, it used to be an old Burger King. Mm-hmm. When I worked at Tower Records, they were shooting it right after they closed the Burger King. That's the Burger King I used to go to.
Okay.
So I remember when they closed that Burger King and they painted it purple, and I was like, "What the hell are they doing?" And then I didn't realize that I saw Clerks 2. It's like That's where the movie was.
Oh, wow.
that's crazy. So I saw I wish I would have seen Kevin Smith. I'd be like, here's my resume. But that you could tell that was Hollywood movie, Hollywood money. And it's
I think
product of its
Mallrats,
time.
though. Mallrats is more of an example of Hollywood money and what it did to him in terms of like a movie making.
Mallrats is Hollywood money, but he still had the essence of an indie director. So he had the money, but he still thought like an indie director.
Because he had
Clerks 2, on the other hand, he's a Hollywood director with Hollywood money.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between the
That's fair. He had the thing about Mallrats is that you can tell that he had a very simple idea. Like it wasn't like it's inconsequential that it's set in the same world as Clerks, right? I mean, at that point, it was just like it's just him sort of like falling back on what he knows, and not intentionally, but just doing it because it makes sense to him. Because the concept of the movie is simple. It's a guy who wants to a guy who cannot commit, right? And another guy who is so immature he will never commit. And it's basically them and their lives revolving around this mall. Very simple theme, very simple theme. Whereas Clerks 2 is him like, well, let's try to recreate, the first
Clerks
movie,
1.
but they're older now, so we need to put them somewhere else. And mind you, there's a lot of great jokes. He's a great writer, but the idea just wasn't that sound.
No, it
Now, my argument on why I think that's more true than not Chasing Amy. I think Chasing Amy is his best movie, and the reason for it is that because he has a very simple idea. He basically has a guy who falls in love with a girl who's just not only unemotionally available, but also gender identity unavailable. And yet how much it disrupts his world as well as, the world of his other people around him. It's a great idea. He does it so well. It feels very honest. There's not a lot of embellishments in that movie.
No, not at all. Now, I will say, okay, I would agree with you if it wasn't for Dogma. So because of Dogma, I'm going to say, no, that's not his greatest film. Dogma, I think, is his greatest film.
Dude, I think you and I have very different ideas of what makes a great film. Let me give you an example. I think I've turned 360 on movies in the past like 2 years. I used to I was a guy years ago they would say like the only reason I would go to a movie theater is to watch a spectacle. I wanted to watch big flashy CGI movies. If I'm going to spend like $17 or whatever it costs to go into a movie, I wanted to watch like the big CGI movie. That's what I was going to go to the theater for.
Right.
And at home is when I go watch like the think pieces like Sicario and all stuff. And I would have fun there and I'd be fine. I would think, why am I going to get bored at the movie theater watching that? Okay. Here's my favorite current film, dude. My favorite current film is a movie called Paris, Texas. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I've heard of it, but
it came out in 1984. Henry D. Stanton, and I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Of course.
He plays a guy who was found wandering in the desert, right? The movie opens up with this beautiful shot of like it must have been New Mexico, but it's supposed to be the Texas desert. And this guy is alluded to of coming from the Mexican border across because he's been wandering he's been lost. And Dean Stockwell, who plays his brother, finds him, picks him up, takes him back home. And through the course of the movie, you find out that Henry Dean Stanton had disappeared because his relationship had fallen apart. And it turns out that Dean Stockwell and his wife are raising his kid. And so in the course of the movie, he starts off like being this like mumbling, very quiet guy to opening up and talking more. And then he decides he needs to go find his ex. And so it all culminates into this beautiful sequence in which Henry Dean Stanton's character meets his ex-wife, who's now working in a peep show, and they have this conversation between this wall. And dude, this whole scene is just so honest and beautiful, and it's just about two people whose only choice for happiness is to admit that they cannot be together, and the sacrifice he has to make is to bring his child back into her world and know that the only guarantee of happiness for the child and for his ex is for him to go away. Such a beautiful movie, man. It's so good. There's no action in it. You're not going to be at the edge of your seat. I mean, hell, you might even be bored as hell if that's sort of your predilection. But if
the story is good, it doesn't matter what's going on as long as it's got me entertained. It's like the problem with the Clerks 3 that I had, that why I got bored, is because all the dialogue that was happening to that point was not forwarding the plot line for me. Was not doing anything.
Don't tell.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. I love movies where, like A Quiet Place. It's a great movie because there's no dialogue, but it's telling you a story.
Yeah.
I mean, I like being entertained as long as you entertain me somehow. Just piss or get off the pot. That's my whole thing. What is it? Piano, Texas, you said?
Paris, Texas.
Paris, Texas. It reminds me of a movie that I just saw that I'm a big fan of. It's a new one, Hell on High Water.
Okay.
With Chris Pine. And I forget who the other guy is, but it's a great, like, it's in the style of No Country for Old Men.
Okay.
It's in that style. It's actually, I recommend it. I think it's on Netflix or something.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. And then, of course, I saw again, because I just introduced my son to it, Falling Down.
Falling Down. Oh, yeah,
Michael Douglas.
the great
and
movie.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Great movie. My wife was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, no, it's not. It's
But
great.
do you see how, like, in that movie, depending on where you're at in life,
Yes.
you can see that guy as
that's exactly what I was
either
thinking
you
about.
empathize with him at some points, and other points you're like, nah, he's a little nuts. I'm right now I'm more on the side that he's nuts right now. That's where I'm at in my
That
life.
is too funny because when I was younger, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Stick it to the man.
Yeah.
And then this time I saw it, I'm like,
Yeah, he's
what did I say?
he's a little too much.
It's
And
a bit too much, but that's funny that you bring that up because
it's
that's
like
exactly what I was thinking
what is that
about.
called? The Turing test, or is that
Yeah, I
what
think
it is?
I think it's a term.
where you're like, it's
Yeah.
like the ink blot test where
Yeah, yeah. Rorschach.
Rorschach test. Yeah, that guy is. The Turing test is the humanity.
It's the humanity one,
AI
yeah.
one.
The AI.
So yeah, dude. So the that movie is sort of a mirror to see where you're at politically
Yeah.
and societally. If you
That's too funny.
100% agree with all the crap this guy's doing, then you're sort of like kind of at you're anti-establishment, anti-authoritarian. You're a person who just wants anarchy because you feel like ultimate freedom is the ability to destroy everything around you that gets in your way. I mean, dude,
I think it's also a life experience factor as well. Like, for instance, Isaac, you just saw it for the first time, Falling Down, the movie with Michael Douglas that we saw about the guy defense.
he has
remember?
a
Yeah.
bad day and
Yeah,
he goes
he has a
out.
bad day and he goes crazy. What do you think of the movie?
I think he was crazy.
You think he was crazy? Okay, so my 15-year-old thinks he was crazy, but do you see what made him like? Can you at least like empathize?
I
with
mean,
him
I
a
get
little
why
bit?
he was mad, but I think he was just doing too much to solve his problems.
You're wise beyond your years.
Yeah,
because I agree with
because when I was 15, I think I would have seen it the other way and be like, yeah, fight the power. But seeing it for like the 30th something time.
I can see maybe you in your 20s rewatching this movie and maybe like empathizing with it, or watching just clips of it, like, which is how most people are being introduced to this movie nowadays, like watching like clips of it and like on TikTok or wherever you watch these things at nowadays, and forming your opinion just based on those clips. For example, the one where he's in the restaurant and how mad he gets that they're messing up his order. Oh no,
His whammy
he wants to get
Breakfast.
a breakfast burger, but they won't give it to him because it's lunch. I mean, literally, it's like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah,
past
3 minutes
the lunch hour.
past lunch, the breakfast time.
And so the shift manager, this teenager or maybe guy who's probably just barely hitting his 20s, is telling this guy with a tie, like, no, you cannot have it because we're not serving breakfast anymore. And the audacity of that and the shit eating grin that this young guy has, his shift manager telling this other guy, no, you cannot have it, and how absurd it seems to him. Just watching that little clip, I can see people being like, yeah, F that guy, man. Why can't I get my breakfast sandwich?
Yeah.
Now McDonald's, by the way, gives you breakfast sandwiches all day, all hours of the day.
Not anymore.
Really?
They went away after COVID, so you can't get them all day. Now it's back. To the old
There's some
schedule.
select sandwiches you can. There's some. You can get like a.
I don't think so, dude.
I don't know, man.
Look it up.
Well, why don't you don your tie and gun and go and shoot up this? Oh, don't do that.
Enrique, we are not the same.
Weird.
I'm an American. You're a sick asshole. Moving on. So, which that scene also, by the way.
You know,
is,
man, I'm gonna drink from my chalice now. You can kiss my ass.
Jesus Christ, he just wants to show up. So, we have we're still messing up with the settings and the whole set for this because we don't know exactly what to do with our hands, with our bodies or anything. But we've got a couple things here lying around. Enrique, you want to walk us through some of the stuff that we have here?
Well, first, we need to do communion.
Dominique Patio.
How does it work? Do we have to like put some
spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch.
And we need unguents.
Whatever that is.
That's those.
Wafers?
I don't know.
Oh, what?
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so we're so this is what season.
This is 5.
Season 5. Wow, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. There's no way this is season 5.
This is season 5, dude.
And so to my left is Doyle, and to my right is George. Oh no, look, they're not here.
He fell off the earth.
Yeah. And so we've been wanting to do video for years. And Angel with his like, oh, the vision's got to be right. This is my impression of Angel. The vision's got to be. And look, this is the vision now.
No, see, here's the vision. See, Enrique says, let's do all this shit, but
Yes.
then he doesn't take into account all the shit that I have to do behind the scenes.
That's true. I don't.
So he doesn't I have to do the editing of the actual audio, and then I have to sync it to whatever camera we're using.
Yeah.
Or the lighting situation, or the prep of the set.
You see, this is like a marriage right here. I'm like the wife in this matter. And yes, I did say that. No homo, bruh. In the sense that I'm telling him like, oh man, why can't we do this? I want to do that. And he's like, well, you're not taking into account all the hours. Like, I don't just do it.
And just like in a marriage. Anyway. No, but yeah, we're setting things up, and then we have some books here. Oh, wait. Let's do this.
Actually, these are great books, dude. What are you talking about? And look, I got Charles Bukowski here. By the way, speaking of Paris, Texas, so Sam Shepard, he's the guy who wrote the script for Paris, Texas, and I bought this book.
Hold it to the camera so they can see.
Yeah, so I bought this book because it's almost like autobiographical, where he's telling stories of like his memories of growing up in California, because he grew up with a farmhand, and you know how California has a lot of farmlands,
Right?
Everyone thinks those West Coast elites. It's like, nah, dude, there's a lot of farmland.
A lot of farmland.
Like I would say, like almost like 70%, 60% of our land is devoted to farming.
We only got like 4 major cities with San Diego, LA, San Francisco, and maybe like Orange County area. That's about it.
Well, we also got Oakland. We also got Sacramento. We got Humboldt up like on the border between. So we do have large towns, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
San Diego, Long Beach, LA. These are like huge like hubs of like commerce, and they arguably are also cultural hubs. Like San Francisco and LA and San Diego are large cultural hubs, and then Long Beach kind of like a distant third. Whereas the OC tends to be like where all the money's at. Yeah, for real.
I'm just kidding. And then as I can see here, there's a little gift.
Yeah, so back in Christmas, I bought Angel this gift, but I thought I was going to see him way sooner than that. But
we were supposed to record on December, but we took a month off. So
yeah,
let's see what this is.
We sure did, and in that time, we've been talking to Doyle. So I mean that we might figure.
You know what's funny though?
What?
I did need these because these are awesome. I look at.
I wouldn't
Pink
just
Floyd
get you.
socks.
I wouldn't just get you any kind of socks, bro.
No, dude. You know what? It's funny enough. My wife was just telling me I have some boots. Am I wearing them? Yeah. Look at these here. I'm not gonna put them on the camera. But these.
Yeah, I see them. Are those Boost socks?
Yeah, I have these, and then I have some Pac-Man ones. The Pac-Man ones have a hole in them already, like this. We got like a moth problem. So this will replace that, brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
No, I saw him. I'm like, got to get him something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, Dark Side of my
Actually,
butthole.
it's also making Christmas, because the previous Christmas, wintertime, remember the Pink Floyd episode?
Oh wow,
that was yeah.
We do not talk about that episode.
We do talk about it all
And
the
then
time.
on the way in, I got us some Monsters, which is what you're drinking on your chalice there. But I picked up this little Sunny Angel Super Mario at I don't know if you can
What
see
is that, man?
It's I'm not too sure. Check it out.
Have you opened it yet?
Yeah, open it.
All right, sure. So, in the meantime, while I'm opening this, I was going to say that we've been, obviously we've never not talked to Doyle. I mean, we talked to him more than we did to George. George, I don't know. I haven't spoken to him in like 5 months.
If not more.
But, there's always a chance.
It's different. George always had like, his family life and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he was always checking out to the point where like it was pretty obvious pretty early on that we were going to lose him. But although we tried to make a lot of accommodations to keep him on because
he had his
we
own.
never wanted to destroy the vibe. But Doyle, like, he's still interested in wanting to participate in some of it. So we got to figure out the video piece and see how we can do that. There has to be a way. I mean, it's not
Zoom.
insurmountable. Like, I mean, there's podcasters like on like YouTube that do this all the time with people across the country. With each
but those podcasters usually have a production team.
No. There's people who like they start from the ground up and they're already doing that. There's ways. It's just again, it comes down to, like you said, like where I'm not as involved as I should be in certain parts of it. Here you go, dude.
Oh, what do we got here?
I don't know. I guess.
God, it's small.
But we try to figure that out. And also
That's what
shout
she
out
said.
to Marco from Bakersfield. Like,
Yeah, Marcos.
yeah, like, I mean, I would love for him to be part of the show again. But, there's always, he's too far away. So
Oh, shit, son.
what is it now? Oh, that is cool, man. Look at that. Why does he look naked?
You put them on the phone. It's because these are like cherub angels that are naked. This is the Mario edition. So this you put in the back of your phone and it's supposed to hang on. You tape it onto the back like this,
Yes.
which is pretty cool. I'm gonna put it like on my monitor though,
See, how does that work?
like this.
Actually, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, he's
And
peeking
then
up.
his ass on the other side.
That's-
I'm gonna put it on my monitor though. That's what I'm gonna do.
That's not weird at all.
No. Why does it have like a naked ass?
That's the thing that was a thing throwing me off, man. He's got cheeks for days, man.
Zoom into that.
That's a slice of two cakes there, bro.
Yeah, that's not what I was looking for. That's not the ass cheeks I was looking for.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, that was a fun opening.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've got a lot coming up for you guys this season. Hopefully you guys are entertained.
I think the goal is to get better at this. Like, I mean, we're a 2-man show for the time being. Well, 3-man, of course, we got to count your son, but
Plus we have the guest stars coming in like
Yeah.
Robert.
and
Robert
let's
Alonso.
be honest. I think me and Angel are better when we have a third that we can like
Bash.
bash and
Talk shit too.
Yeah, they temper us.
Otherwise we get along too much.
Yeah, I'm kind of bored.
Screw you.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, it's a good time. Let me see what else. Can't think of anything else. Isaac, anything to add?
I'm just happy to be back.
Yay.
Yay.
This year he'll talk more, he said. He promised. He wants to talk about genitalia or something.
I
don't know.
say that.
Oh, he didn't say that. Okay. And then the funny part is my 10-year-old.
Well, why would you admit that? Why would you admit that?
The funny part is my 10-year-old was like, Dad, can I come along too? Because he wanted to be included.
No.
And me and Isaac just looked at each other like, you're not ready for the conversation. So,
He's not ready for the conversation.
yeah.
We're
a little older.
I will say that I appreciate that you hadn't cussed as much as you normally do, but you still dropped a few, and we're trying to be clean because we're on video.
I'm trying, but it's not.
Because
I'm
dude,
failing.
we got it. We need to because this is video now. There's a reason why we're not putting any music on. At least nothing that we're gonna get sued for. Wink. And in the hopes that we can actually start making something of this.
Pay me, bitch.
I mean, I don't. I know you're all like, oh, I don't want to sell out. Get out of here. I want to sell out. I want to be like real big fish. Sell out with me.
This episode of Ouchcast is not brought to you by Monster.
It's not, but if it was, that'd be
awesome.
That'd be
Hey,
a thing,
Monster.
right?
Wink, wink. Just give us like $500.
Yeah, that's it. Or maybe a few boxes of Monster.
I'll settle for a case of Monster. Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Anyway, I guess that's it for the episode, man. It's a good
Yeah.
long little preview of what's to come. So I guess I'll just do the music for that part
Sure.
if I can.
You do it in post.
I know I'm probably gonna have to because
Do it in post. Right.
right?
Insert song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay, well, good times for everything. Anything else to add? You want to plug?
No. Just I've said it in the beginning. I'll say it again. Go watch movies in the movie theater. I'm not trying to be like the movie nerd, and I know I sound that way, but trust me, there's just something pretty amazing about watching it in the big screen. So go do that.
I want to give out a shout out to a couple people before we go. Of course, our buddy Rob Alonso.
Oh yeah, got to bring you back.
Hey, you're always welcome. You're always one of us. You're one of the good ones. Doyle, of course, buddy, homie, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good time.
Sort yourself out, mate.
You have to do the fingers too, though. Sort yourself out.
No, for real, we need him back because, dude, especially to talk about like the current state of our world.
Yeah. Who else? Nothing to George.
Well, dude, some of the old people we brought on before, like friggin' Nikki.
Nikki, hey, dude. Hey, you doing good, bro, sis?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're up to, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Mark, of course. Hey,
Mark.
I know you're like watching. BG in the house.
Yeah.
The brothers, Marco and Cisco. Good to see you guys. Cisco's going to be back, by the way.
Okay.
He already mentioned. Hopefully just pep it up a little. And then, of course, Diego or G-Man from Into the Void
Yeah.
will be more involved in the podcast as well. So
Yeah, we're gonna that's TBD. We're gonna figure that part out, but I'm looking forward to those discussions and seeing what comes of it.
he'll be a guest here and there.
Yeah. I mean, looking forward to like getting into some interesting talks about ghosts and spirits and just anything at the
Things that go bump in the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
And then, look at that. I'm gonna try to make it this exactly 1 hour, so it could be an actual hour podcast.
Okay, well, you're at 34, 35.
I count it down to the end. Yeah. No, that's about it. Ouchcast.com for all our socials. Join us. We record every Saturday or at least release every Saturday. And then remember, never make eye contact while eating a banana. Peace.